months ago, in mid of September, Kenyans were all out protesting against the Adani group that the government of Kenya, under the leadership of William Ruto, has given to lease the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to the Indian business mogul Adani group. Now, during that time, of course, we have asked the question why the Kenyans are upset, why they are on the street, protesting against this deal. And of course, the right question was, did it follow the right procedures? And we found out that actually the Kenyan government has just leased it without the proper procedure and taking into considerations other business people who wanted to lease the airport. So this airport was basically leased for 3 decades, for 30 years. That was the time that was given to Adani Group after 30 years of lease to return it to Kenyans. Now, this, because of the procedure was not the right one, then the Human Rights Commission of Kenya has taken the case to the High Court in Kenya, and the court ordered not to take any action further. That's what they ordered to the government, not to go ahead with this thing until the final verdict comes out related to this. And another important finding that was a striking one was that the Adani Group do not have a good reputation. It has, in fact, a bad reputation. Frauds everywhere. This man he has business internationally everywhere. And the history shows us that he is like a fraud man and accused of, for laying off workers and environmental case as well, polluting the environment. There are many cases which I would like to show you. Now, in terms of fraud, it seems that the Kenyans have got it right. Look at now what we got. This was today, it was published. The billionaire Gautam Adani charged in the United States with $265 million bribery fraud. Now, the billionaire chair of Indian conglomerate Adani Group and one of the world's richest people has been indicted in New York over his role in alleged multi-billion-dollar bribery and fraud scheme, U.S. prosecutors said on Wednesday. Authorities said Adani and 7 other defendants, including his nephew Sagar Adani, agreed to pay about $265 million in bribes to Indian government officials to obtain contracts expected to yield $2 billion profit over the 20 years and develop India's largest solar power plant project. Now, prosecutors also said that Adani's and another executive at Adani Green Energy, former CEO Vineet Jain, raised more than $3 billion in loans and bonds by hiding their corruption from lenders and investors. Imagine that's what it means, is that they have made the people to buy bonds, saying that, just only taking out the good history or the profit history of the company, not really telling the people, of course, its bad reputation. Now, according to an indictment, some conspirators referred privately to Gautam Adani with the code names Numero Uno and the Big Man, while Sagar Adani allegedly used his cell phone to track specifics about the bribes. Adani Group did not immediately respond to requests for comment outside business hours in India, where the charges were announced early Thursday morning. That's today. India's embassy in Washington did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Lawyers for the defendants could not immediately be identified. Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani, and Jain were charged with securities fraud, securities conspiracy, and wire fraud conspiracy, and Adani's were also charged in U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission civil case. The other 5 defendants were charged with conspiring to violate the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, U.S. anti-bribery law, and 4 were charged with conspiring to obstruct justice. Okay, so this man has its bad reputation. Now, this person has actually congratulated President-elect Donald Trump. So here is what he said. Others who were criminally charged on Wednesday included Ranjit Gupta and Rupesh Agarwal, respectively, a former CEO and former chief strategy and commercial officer of Azure Power Global, which authorities said agreed to pay some of the bribes. Wow. Now, Adani actually congratulated President Donald Trump, which is the president-elect, on his platform X, that his conglomerate planned to invest $10 billion in U.S. energy security and infrastructure projects, creating a potential 15,000 jobs without providing a time table. So that's what he announced on his X platform at the same time while he's actually congratulating President-elect Donald Trump. So he's probably trying to compel to to President Trump. And also it's really suspicious how this thing all of a sudden after President Donald Trump is elected is coming out, because they have all these documents, and probably under Democrats, maybe they are told to just keep it like that, because India has been a good partner when the Democrat leaders were there. And why do I say that? Because India and China are both under BRICS, okay? So both are founding members of BRICS. But India said that they will not support a separation from the United States dollar, in which BRICS advocate that they want to have an independent currency. So India didn't want that. India still want to use its US dollar, and then at the same time also transact with its own currency. So that kind of made to stand out, or not to stand out, but to be looked at suspiciously, meaning India under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, which is still the Prime Minister of India. And I really don't think the same relationship will exist under the Republicans. And the fact that now this is coming out and going after Adani Group says a lot, because Adani Group is also, the man is Gautam Adani, is like he's a very good and non-biological brother of Prime Minister Modi. That's how the journalists in India describe him. And so many times his frauds and bad reputations has been brought to the attention of Prime Minister Modi, but he said he all just disqualified it by saying all lies and abuses. So he was like kind of a right hand of Prime Minister Modi. That's why he is not facing any legal consequence in his country, in India. So now coming back to where we at, so this is all to inform our Kenyans brothers and sisters. So this is right. The man is again and again proves to be a fraud man. That's what all his history shows. Look at there was a whole research that was conducted in Australia about the Adani Group and the crimes that they have committed. Look at it. It was really shocking. While I was preparing to come and report this to you, I found out this, and it was really shocking how even Kenya allowed this man to be, to lease its airport. Because the thing is that even one of the reasons why the Kenyans were not happy about this deal was that after 30 years, the terms will be according to Adani, not really according to Kenya as a country, that he will have the bigger say and decision how all the costs have been spent in 30 years will be paid back. So he's kind of winning in all this. And on top of it, that he got this contract illegally without others being in competition. Okay, so let me just read you this. Now, this is a whole research that was made about Adani Group. Governance and operation of the Northern Australia Infrastructure Facility. Look, the Adani files. That's how I said, do you see this? The Adani. Let me just put this thing in, and I'm just, now this one is in bigger font. Look, the Adani files, a short history of corruption, destruction, and criminal activity of the Adani Group. Look, now, the following report is a summary of mining giant Adani's track record based on research into hundreds of court documents by Environmental Justice Australia and Earth Justice and other publicly available evidence. I will just, the whole research is about him, but I'm going to quickly, it's about 16 page really. I'm going to pin it in the comment section. You go ahead and read it. But there are some highlights here. Let me just read it for you. In 2011, a ship carrying Adani coal sank off the coast of Mumbai, devastating beach tourism and marine life. Adani did nothing to clean up the mess for 5 years. Adani cannot be trusted to operate in the Great Barrier Reef. The second one, Adani's Australian CEO was director of operations at another mining company when it poisoned a river in Zambia, that's in Africa, that people relied on to survive. Can you imagine? Adani hides this from the Australian government. Adani cannot be trusted with Queensland's water. So these are Australians coming together, intellectuals compiling a research and presenting it to the government why they should not give any contract to Adani. This is what actually, this is what a citizen is supposed to do. This is how you fight it. And this is how Kenyans also should fight it. A third point, again, a third crime, there have been disease, illness, and injuries at Adani workplaces. Reports show Adani have exploited and underpaid their workforce, including using child labor. Adani cannot be trusted to follow the rules and look after workers in Australia. The same thing, exactly why the Kenyan workers were not happy. They were there, out saying that even, international flights were canceled because for days they have been protesting that he's going to lay off employees. What are they going to do? The government is not protecting them. So they have actually a background. Now look at all this is backed by a research. A fourth point, Adani uses dodgy tax havens in the Cayman Islands to hide assets and revenue. 13 of the 26 Adani subsidiaries registered in Australia are ultimately owned in the Cayman Islands. Companies who pay their taxes don't register themselves in the Cayman Islands. Fifth one, Adani was involved in a bribery scandal that involved bribing customs officials, the police, the State Pollution Control Board, and more. Companies who obey the law don't have to pay bribes. Now, who is Adani? What do they want? Adani is an Indian mining and energy company seeking to build the world's biggest new coal mine in central Queensland, Galile Basin, the Carmichael mine. So this is the same Gautam Adani that we are talking about, in which the Kenyan government, William Ruto, has given him a contract leasing for 30 years the national airport, the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, endangering a layoff of employees and endangering a loss of this national airport out of Kenya's hand, out of the government, and just allow it to be run a private company that does not have a good reputation. So, I mean, we support the Kenyans. Anyone, if you are Kenya or anyone who have been following the case of Adani Group in Kenya, please go ahead and inform us, comment in the comment section, informing us the whereabouts of that case, where the Human Rights Commission of Kenya has taken it to the High Court, and we know that the High Court has told the government not to take any further action. So is it really the same, or is the government as usual, because William Ruto just surpasses that with his authority, might do things of his own, surpassing the decision of the High Court of Kenya? So please let us know in the comment section, and we are really interested to bring you any progress related to this. The Kenyans have to know about this. This is more background on the group, that this is one reason why he should not be given to run that airport. Thank you very much again for tuning and for listening, for your suggestions, for your comment, questions, everything. We appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, share the video with others. That's how you can help us, the YouTube algorithm, and like it if you find it, of course, informative enough. And you may support us through our PayPal account. You can find it in the description section. Thank you all for your support, and I